Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Josh Oliver extended. Unlimited money? I guess so.
Wow. I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. I will be overreacting to every J.J. McCarthy clip you can send me. I need this.
What's happening? Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman, Cedric Griffin, or Fred Smoot. Who's our cornerback two on the All-Quarter Century team? We debate that and more next.
Duke Shelley.
Duke.
Hey, this is Arif Hasan with Wide Left. I've gone 3 days without energy drinks. I'm not handling it well.
Oh, no.
It's just pure gasoline.
There's hot
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party. It's your guys hanging out talking next level Vikings football. So join in with Arif Hasan, Locked On Vikings Luke Braun, Superior Sports Talks Luke Inman, and Vikings insider Sam Ekstrom, plus the biggest names in Minnesota football for the Minnesota Football Party. And it starts now.
What's up and welcome in to another thrilling edition of the Minnesota Football Party on Locked On Sports Minnesota and the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first watch or listen today, and make sure Locked On Vikings is your second one with Luke Braun, producing great daily Vikings content over there. Find our audio in the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. We're streaming on Locked On Sports Minnesota and Locked On Vikings live every Monday, every Thursday. It's all the fun we have here twice a week on Minnesota Football Party. You met the Lukes, you met Arif. I'm Sam Ekstrom. We're brought to you today by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. It's FanDuel. Our all-quarter century team series continues. We did offense last time. We will do defense this time. Next show, I think we'll do special teams and coaching staff. We'll do like punter, kicker, long snapper, head coach, coordinators.
Yeah, and presumably, I just want to get ahead of the coaching staff one. We can only hire coaches in the roles that they were for the Minnesota Vikings. So we can't make Mike Zimmer the defensive coordinator, for example.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And yeah, I don't know how to weight something like a Mike Tomlin situation where you know what Mike Tomlin is now, but what he did for the Vikings in 1 year, it was good. It was a really good 1 year.
It got him hired, right?
Is that enough? Yeah. That was an incredible run defense. Williams Wall. Where would Mike Tomlin be without the Williams Wall? We ponder that and more as the series continues. We also have a Josh Oliver extension. We'll get into that early, plus the minicamp steam, any reports out of there that caught our eye. Why don't we just start with Josh Oliver? That was the big news of the week, 3-year extension. He signed through 2028. The Vikings are quickly making next free agency a moot point. Like, they are doing all the work now. I looked at next year's free agency crop for the Vikings. Other than the Harrison Smith question, which, I mean, he's not playing anywhere but here. He's either retiring or he's going to be suckered back in for another season. CJ Ham is like the biggest question mark next year. They don't really have money to do outside stuff. So it might just be just a chill free agency where we don't have to worry about losing people, getting people. They just have the team. That includes now Josh Oliver. So it's a big contract for a TE2. I think we raised our eyebrow maybe a little bit when they did it the first time, and now they keep him in the building for his blocking ability. And as Wes Phillips said, Luke Inman called him the best Y, like the Y in coach speak, blocking tight end.
How many tight end bests can this coaching staff support?
Best tight end 3 in the league for a while. He's gone now. Yeah. They love this guy.
It's like a politician just going back to the same well of catchphrases.
Yeah,
right. You know, this community is full of hard-working, blue-collar type guys that value
tight ends. Yeah,
it's like spin the wheel.
Unlike
I got 7 on there.
Shelbyville over there.
Shelby. Spin the wheel. I got
they don't
7
get us.
catchphrases. Yeah. They love this guy, man. They clearly love him. I raised my eyebrows quite a bit. I was highly critical the first time they brought him in, right? I thought that was pretty spendy price tag to pay a tight end to. Definitely feels like, unless you like watch the nitty gritty, which we've talked about on the Vikings postcast shows, which we've talked about on this show as well, unless you watch some like the all 22 back, I think Josh Oliver gets a little underappreciated. I mean, he truly is one of the best blocking tight ends. And what I think is pretty cool about his story too, he came out of San Jose State as a pass catching tight end. You don't see guys evolve in the block. I mean, when you draft a tight end, one of the biggest things is this guy going to be able to learn how to block in the NFL? Because it's such a different ball game going from college, especially all the different passing concepts. A lot of tight ends are put in the college landscape into the NFL. So the way he has evolved into truly one of the best top three, I mean, I think that's not even like a hot take, top three blocking tight ends in the league.
Who's a better blocking tight end? Actually, you're saying top three. I'm like,
yeah,
hey,
no. I mean, I was just flinging out top three because I haven't really sat down and thought about it. No, you're probably right. Is he the best?
Can we name 32 blocking tight ends?
Can you name 5? Name 5 blocking tight ends.
Blocking only tight ends.
So you got to lay down some grand rules. What, does Patrick Ricard count, or is he just?
Yeah, that's kind of where my mind went. But
I
I feel like he's a fullback. I feel like he's a fullback. Yeah,
he's like 300 pounds. Like, all right,
right. I mean, how many targets did he have last year? How many catches did he have last year?
Not many. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, we can look this up quickly because PFF finally works now. I don't know if any of you were aware, but PFF was like not working for like 2 solid weeks.
Pretty good time for that to happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, of all the times of the year for that to work, like honestly, but
this is the time to like do a large site renovation and like break something.
yeah. No, but I would say, well, okay, so I think, this is great. PFF does block percent snap counts. So this is actually useful. So we got, high block percent tight ends include Chris Manhertz, Charlie Warner, Tip Ryman, of course, Tip Ryman. I don't know why I didn't think of it right away. Nick Vannett, Luke Farrell. I don't know. It's not Farrell, right? That would be way too cool. Andrew Ogletree, Darnell Washington, of course, Darnell Washington. John Bates, Brock Wright, and Nate Adkins. And this is just in blocking percent. Okay. So
of all this entire, like the top 40 here, I filtered it out 50% of block snaps.
Yeah, he's top in blocking grade, which I know Luke Braun loves to defer to PFF on stuff like
run blocking grade. Josh Oliver #1.
Yeah,
in that group. I
was
using PFF in the one way that Luke Braun might appreciate it, which was
as snap charting. Yeah. The contract is pretty light still. He had a couple of void years on his contract as it stood, which changes the math just a little bit. But I think as a percentage of salary cap, I believe his cap burden has gone down.
Yeah, I wonder if
like
it's
3 years of the same thing.
Right.
Probably pretty low next year, too. They don't have a lot of wiggle room next year either. I'm guessing it's pretty backloaded in 27, 28.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's what, like 11 million in guarantees or something like that, which will get spread out. And if there's more void years, if they wanted to tack extra void years onto the end of the contract, essentially just re-up the exact same thing, that would spread out even more. But
does this clear money? Does this clear money this year for Jalen Ramsey?
For Jalen Ramsey, hard to know till we see the contract structure.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
We not have it yet.
And to your point here, Sam, too. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they have checked a lot of names off the list already. Josh Metellus, maybe, is that the only one?
I neglected to mention
the only one,
but it feels like that domino. I mean, rarely do you have a hold in that doesn't resolve favorably for the player.
I don't know if I brought
the player is saying like, yeah, everybody's doing everything right here, and I'm pretty happy. We'll get it done. Don't worry. Like this is then like cut to Cincinnati. It's different.
This is fine dog everywhere.
Oh man, he straight up left minicamp. Shamar Stewart, my God, you got a rookie to straight up leave minicamp over his rookie contract,
which I agree is
and you're like clearly in the wrong.
But like on top of that, he is calling out the team directly. He's like, I have no idea what they're doing. This is crazy. The Bengals need to get their stuff together. And you're like, guy, you aren't even an NFL player. And I'm not
But
saying
he's right.
wrong
That's what's
for saying
crazy.
that. Yeah.
The Bengals are being insane.
And he's like, they should at least pay Trey. And it's like, that's the guy you replace. All right. Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. But like, that's crazy for you to say that.
Because there's two guys in the same room dealing with this. So it's like,
the Bengals are like, we don't want to pay this guy. So we'll just draft a guy that, by the way, is going to take a couple years to replace him. But we'll just draft a guy. and both of them are like, hey, you got to treat us better. This can't. Look, I get that scabbing is like part of how the NFL operates, but you got to treat the scabs a little bit better.
This is why we need to be grateful for the Wolves. They're willing to pay their players.
Truly.
They're willing to put money into things, and their crimes are mostly victimless.
Actually, yeah.
Elephant in the room. Ekstrom sounding stuffy, says PHT. What does Ekstrom sound like? Wrong answers only. Let us know in the chat. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah. I want to hear chat give us some Ekstrom sound blank.
Let us know what you think. Let us know what the voice is resembling. Other mini camp reports that caught your eye from yesterday, day prior.
Not a ton. I was just going to say, it sounds like Matt Daniels is pushing for Isaiah Rodgers to get on the return team, kick return, punt return, whatever that looks like. I'm not sure, but we were talking. I think Luke, you brought it up. I think we were talking about how that's kind of flown on the radar a little bit, and that's going to be, it should be a little bit more bigger storyline. I feel like just considering not only how impactful that area and position is, but also the fact that we have so many boxes already checked. We kind of already know what a lot of the meat and potatoes, the bones of this roster and kind of depth chart's going to look like. So I thought that was interesting because we just haven't heard a lot of verbiage about that position or that battle, I guess, during the OTAs.
He's a
punt return, kick return will be an interesting camp battle for sure.
Yeah, and probably kick return for Isaiah Rodgers. I don't think he's got a great punt return resume. Punt return's always the trickier, more nuanced one. Kick return can be a lot of different guys. But he has had success with it, and I think it's going to be more important this year than it has been in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years with the new touchback rules. So I'm looking forward to that battle. We'll probably see a lot of guys in joint practices, in preseason. I don't know how they're going to handle that in preseason with Isaiah Rodgers. I'm guessing he's a guy who's sitting out.
Oh, you can have anybody do it. Have Silas Bolden do it and take the lumps and cut him. It's fine.
Yeah. Burrito Bill, where are the new glasses? Oh, they're here. They're here. We just haven't had a fiery take yet. That'll come in the all quarter century defense debate, which is coming up shortly. Any other reports from minicamp that stood out?
I've been watching every JJ McCarthy clip I can, like a hawk, compiling, preparing. I'm going to do something real degenerate with it.
Film?
Please tell me it's a highlight reel, like just a 30-minute YouTube, like Linkin Park backing.
That would be great, but Sam was closer. We're gonna Zapruder that stuff. There's already a great clip of him throwing on the run to his left and doing it using a different technique than he did in college. He used to be like Kirk Cousins, where he would cock his shoulders.
Like a brutally evil mechanics breakdown of the differences between his mini camp form and his college form.
No, another brutally evil film breakdown of the differences between his college form and his mini camp form. Because I did this last year.
Look, hey, if you want to write it in text, I've got you.
Right, we'll see. But so he would cock his shoulders. This is the way Kirk Cousins would do it too. And it's slower, but you kind of get your shoulders realigned, you make the pass, and that's how you do it. It's a little slower, it's harder to control. You need a certain
Cousins
flexibility.
Is good in the boots. That makes sense.
Yeah, it works okay, but it's preferable if you can to do it like the way Mahomes does it, where he kicks out his leg and you kind of starfish it. Dak Prescott's really good at this too. Caleb Williams does it, and it's a little bit faster. It's going to be a little bit of a harder throw. Like you get more velocity that way. And McCarthy's doing it that way now.
I feel like the team has released a handful of McCarthy throws that were not like that technically sound. Like he's throwing it a little behind guys.
He's still over rotating a little bit. Yeah, he's still coming, and I don't know if that's going to get fixed. I think at this point that's probably just baked in, and you're just going to have some misses that way.
I think if you don't fix an upper body mechanic element in the first year that they're in the NFL, you're probably not fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot better. It's just not like to perfection.
Sure.
It's still just a little bit, but it's like you can work with it now. It's viable.
It's viable.
We talked yesterday on the Care 11 show about like the type of start that he might have, and you know the patience the team may have to have with him. And I got to thinking, like, you know, Chiefs fans probably had this conversation in 2018. We're gonna have to be patient with this Mahomes guy. Like, we're gonna take our lumps. It's gonna be tough early on, but we're gonna stick with him. And then I looked at like how he started his career. Do you remember this? 10 touchdowns.
How Mahomes started his career?
Well,
yeah,
like
I
the first
specifically
part of the game of
specifically
2018. Yeah,
10 touchdowns, no picks
breaking year.
in his first few games. Averaged 40 points a game. I think he won his first 4 or 5 total. Like, didn't throw a pick until week 5. Just video game stuff out of the gate.
I remember my favorite element out of the Mahomes year that he had in his first year, you know, his second year in the league,
Like real year, yeah.
His, you know, his MLB rookie year, is not any of the highlights. Obviously, the highlights were amazing. We've got to experience no look passes for the first time, as if Matthew Stafford never did them, which got a bunch of Lions fans real mad. It was fantastic. I love that. My favorite element actually occurred after the season when a Reddit poster, I believe it was like a Jaguars fan, but it was not Jaguar Gator 9, said, actually, Mahomes is overrated, and he regressed Mahomes' stats by averaging his actual stats against the league average stats, and said, this is Mahomes' true talent level. And everyone was like, what? You can't just do that. Also, this new stat is great too. What are we doing? It's just like, yeah, you just got to regress it to the mean. And by that, I mean the league average. It was outstanding.
What are we doing? I think Chase Daniel Plainview wins. Sam sounds like Eeyore experiencing seasonal affective disorder.
What is Eeyore experiencing seasonal affective disorder look like? He is already.
He's already.
Yeah, when is he not experiencing some kind of depression?
Right.
He's literally a character inspired by depression.
I don't think public television would be allowed to show children a more sad Eeyore. right? Like that's, you can't.
Right. You got 12 people at a conference room going, listen, we saw the first cut.
You're already told
we gotta make some changes
with this.
Yeah, I can't believe you made Piglet be the one to find him. That's crazy.
Okay, we'll do this tease like Eeyore just to pay it off, and then we'll get into the quarter century all defense team. Coming up next, we debate the top Vikings edge rushers of the past 25 years. Come back to the 100-acre wood when we return. Skylight Calendar brings you today's show. Say goodbye to sticky notes, scribbled plans on the fridge, overlapping calendar invites. My life's chaotic. Got 2 kids. Read a lot of Winnie the Pooh to them. That's why the Eeyore was so on point. But their schedules are out of control. We got birthday parties now every weekend. We got activities. We got swimming. We got soccer. It's impossible. We're trying to eliminate those forgotten appointments from the routine. How often are plans getting missed around here? Quite often. Well, it wouldn't happen with Skylight Calendar, which has a 15-inch HD screen. You can color code it, get it all in there, get it all integrated with your family schedule. Skylight's offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/NFL. Skylightcal.com/NFL for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. SKYLIGHTCAL.com/NFL.
All right, 3 notes on that, Sam, if you'll permit me. 1, Skylight, great for getting you ready for game time. Got it. 2, we got to get you to do way more impressions. This rules.
Yep.
3, I don't think you know who the Elcor are in Mass Effect, but
Wow.
you also nailed that in your Eeyore impression.
Yeah, YouTube that one later.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That was incredible.
What am I YouTubing now?
We'll figure it out after the show. Elcor,
Okay.
Elcor. And
Don't
then
worry, Sam. I got
there's
you.
like a bunch of videos because they're a funny creature in Mass Effect.
All right, here are the parameters around the all quarter century defensive team. I'm allowing 2 flex spots this time. 2 flex spots, one in the secondary, one in the front 7. Or the core roster will be 2 edges, 2 D tackles, 2 linebackers, 2 safeties, 2 corners, just 2 across the board, leaving room for a couple of flex spots. Let's start with edge. We should have a Ron Johnson pop in here at some point as well. Edge, Jared Allen, locked number 1. We all agree?
Yeah, I think we all agree. I think it's really just number 2.
Yeah.
Correct. I felt, by the way, I felt like this was a better, like more difficult exercise than offense. Like for a lot of the positions, I thought there were some more reasonable
think so,
debates.
actually. Like when I was going through it, because I did actually prepare. When I was going through it, I was like, "Hey, this is like way too easy." Oh no, I'm just picking my favorite players. These are actually good debates.
Yeah, felt like
2.
edge for sure, and maybe even D-line. Edge for sure, though, number 1.
Edge for sure. Jared Allen.
A lot more options, right? And then you get to linebacker, which we'll get to, cornerback, safety. I felt like an obvious number 1, and then when I got to number 2, it was like, huh.
Yeah,
right,
well, given that we only have
for a little bit.
2 linebackers instead of 3, I thought it was pretty obvious for me, and I'm certainly willing to hear the arguments. But yeah, for my number 2 edge rusher is Everson Griffin. Obviously, I was debating between him and Danielle Hunter. Brian Robinson just not quite enough to get there, which sucks because he was outstanding.
Yep.
But I went with Everson Griffin. I think that his history of production with the Vikings is stronger. It's a little bit more consistent. I didn't look up which one had like more sacks with the Vikings or whatever. I assume it's Everson, but I don't know.
I think it's Danielle.
Everson,
Is
Everson by about 15, I think.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I think that Everson. I think the argument, like both of them were better against the run than I think a lot of non-Vikings fans realized. But I think the argument for Danielle might be that he was better against the run than Everson, especially when you've got like the running quarterback element introduced into the game. But I went with Everson.
I went with Danielle, but spoiler, I got Everson as my flex in the front 7. So
yeah, and I couldn't
have one without the other.
I did the opposite. I did Everson Griffin and then Danielle Hunter as the flex.
Well, if we're talking
really hard
flex, that one was tough for me because again, like last time we had a debate about whether or not we're building our flexes and our team from a team building perspective, which was kind of the Percy Harvin debate, or if we're just building based off of pure talent. Because I think off of pure talent, I go Danielle Hunter as my flex. But if I don't, I'm going to pick somebody else. Like if I was constructing a team to play in a game, which sucks because I don't want to like leave Danielle Hunter off. But
yeah, I'm still thinking of this as like an AP All-Pro kind of logic, where I'm not necessarily trying to like balance skill sets, but I'm just trying to find like the best players. I went with Jared Allen, Everson Griffin, and Danielle Hunter. What a rotation! 3 starters on the defense, just like Flores says.
Yeah. So I'm just on Pro Football Ref. If I get choppy, okay, status quo. It looks like though Everson 79.5 career sacks with the Vikings in 11 years. In 8 years, Danielle Hunter 87.5 sacks with the Vikings.
Oh, look at that! You got fact checks.
Danielle got 8 more. It looks like.
Inman was not happy to be wrong about the one stat he was confident in, and it turns out he was correct.
Thank you.
So
I'm not going Eeyore on the bit. I'm not going Eeyore on the bit. Okay, but yeah, I'm glad.
Let me show you why there was confusion. This is weird. Okay, share my screen.
Careful.
Okay.
Careful.
Do you see this? I filtered out defensive ends. Playing for the Vikings.
It probably excluded the years that, or the games that Danielle Hunter was listed as a linebacker.
Exactly. That's
my
right.
God, that's annoying.
That is diabolical.
Yeah.
That is diabolical.
Holy,
Yeah,
we
you
got to
gotta be
come
on-
up with better words for stuff, man.
Yeah, you got to be on top of that, Sam. You got to be
That's
3
wrong.
steps ahead.
You got to be on top of this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's tricky. Okay.
Outside
Now we gotta-
linebacker. Yeah, man. Put him in the slot.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for doing that, Ed Donato. Appreciate it.
So with the new filter, Danielle Hunter jumps over Jared Allen actually in total sacks. Not bad.
Huh.
Yeah. I had Everson my number 2, Danielle with the flex, so I guess it's a little bit of a moot point, but now armed with this new knowledge, I think I'm leaning Danielle now.
I think
more-
it's fair to pick either.
1 and 1A.
Yeah, I think Everson's pressure production was a little bit better.
It was. I think he leads the team in quarterback hits.
Great.
Like ever?
186. Not even close.
Because that wasn't logged for very long, so
Yeah, it's
probably
not,
ever.
Not long, but like
Oh.
not even
So
close.
that can't
Number
be
one
right
with a-
if you have that from like the 70s.
You're right. No, absolutely not.
No,
But
of course
given
not.
that
Of
it's
course not.
sport radar
No,
data.
1982. No, is that right?
No, there's no way it's
Sacks
1982.
prior-
It's
no,
it's
sacks
probably
prior to
like
1982.
2012.
Yeah, 186. Jared Allen, number 2, 155. So 31 more.
Yeah,
I was just saying,
yes,
to your
I think
point,
Everson Griffin's
to your point, the
pressure
pressures.
production does help him here versus somebody like a Daniel Hunter. And I'm going to value that a little bit, but yeah, it's so easy to pick one or the other. It's not worth an extended argument, I think.
You guys start debating defensive tackle. I got to do an audio reset. I will be back in a minute. You guys go ahead.
He's going to come
So-
back sounding like Rue instead of Eeyore.
So we all do the Williams wall because I just put in the Williams wall.
I was going to do the Williams wall,
Well,
but
Linval?
I was
Can we
just
talk
like,
about it?
Yeah, Linval.
It was hard. I went with Linval, but
I went with Limbaugh. but
I'm
it was
choosing
close.
Pat Williams over Linval, like specifically, like directly. I just kind of feel like he did the same thing but more disruptively. But I might be nostalgic.
maybe because here's my take on Pat versus Linval, which again, a super tough argument, right, to figure out who you'd rather have. My argument is that I think Pat Williams of the two was a more physically impressive specimen for the amount of weight he was able to move around, which is crazy because Linval has the NFL Next Gen stats record for like mass times velocity or whatever it is, right? Which is crazy. But like I thought Pat Williams' quickness was insane for his over 350 pounds.
Yeah.
But I think that Linval was a better penetrator and that Pat Williams was a better anchor of the two of them, which is tough to parse out. But I went with Linval because of that. And I think you end up with a little bit more of a productive defense that way. But this one was a really difficult one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Who went with Linval officially?
I went with Limbaugh.
I did. Yeah. So Luke in
I went Kevin and Pat.
Yeah.
I think we
also
went
went-
Kevin Williams, right? That's
Kevin,
that's the obvious one. It's like every single one of these. There's like the obvious one and then the really hard second one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
someone in the chat was like, "Can we do a Sharif Floyd counterfactual history or something like that?" And it's like, hey, if we had like all of healthy Sharif Floyd, maybe he enters this conversation.
If he was really good for 7 more years, maybe he can compete with Kevin Williams for this spot.
How about Tom Johnson? Sam, you got Tom Johnson on there?
Tom Johnson, high sack totals.
Yeah, the
20
Thunder
yeah.
Bucket certainly deserves a conversation, but not like he's not
No,
really
no.
realistically
Just a name drop.
competing.
That's what he
He's pretty-
deserves. A name drop. Yeah.
Yeah, a name drop for sure.
I almost gave it to Linval though because he scored a touchdown once. Like how
Created
awesome was that?
created the epic gift, the meme. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of
So
the great,
sorry, Sam. You went with Pat.
I did go with Pat.
Okay.
Totally.
Kevin and Pat.
Yep.
We're in lockstep,
I
Sam.
like that
Linval.
that we're split here.
Mhm.
That feels.
I also had Danielle Hunter and then Everson Griffin in the flex until I thought about just like the Jim Marshall-ish effect Everson Griffin had on the franchise for a long time. But
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The vibes were high.
Yeah.
Let's go to linebacker. Again, we've got 2 linebacker spots. I think we all used our flex already. So I think, again, you're going to get in. This number 2 is going to be a great debate. Maybe even number 1. Arif's best friend, Chad Greenway, certainly in the mix for that spot.
Easily Chad Greenway's.
Yeah, I got Greenway. Again, these first couple are again, just kind of like no brain for me anyway. Greenway. And then I went with EJ. I went with EJ number 2.
I totally get why you go with EJ. I totally get it. I can't get past Kendricks. I just cannot get past Kendricks.
I went Kendricks and I struggled. Like I thought about it for a long time.
Yeah. And this is also, by the way, this is where I kind of so I mentioned that like if we're doing like an all-pro style selection, I go with Danielle Hunter as my flex. If I were building a team,
right,
I go with Anthony Barr as my flex. He's not a better linebacker.
With that for a while too. I kind of want to do that as my secondary flex and just kind of like really fudge it because I don't really know what's secondary flex.
But strong safety.
Yeah. Excluding Barr is probably the one I feel the worst about.
Yeah. So that was tough, but I totally understand EJ Henderson. I think as a pure linebacker, especially for the role that he actually played in the defense at the time, it's hard to beat. As a modern linebacker, obviously Kendricks is a little bit more enabled, but
you know what it was? It was like I skipped out on Pat Williams and I went Linval and went the 2017 defense, and then coming back around, I had to go a little bit nostalgia, like Luke said. It was a nostalgia. I mean, literally, kind of flip a coin. I had a tough time though with both these. You can make a strong case for either one.
Mm-hmm. He's like EJ was the perfect LB1 for his era. Absolutely perfect. Like exactly what you wanted at that time. Kendricks, I think, was perfect in his time with the ability to pass cover in like the 3-year peak he had from, I want to say,
dude, those picks
19 to 21. Yeah.
Man.
Picks were crazy.
Third down plays he made.
Yeah.
Exquisite. We'll get to the secondary after we get to Ron Johnson, after we get a quick word in next. Brought to you by FanDuel. Today, NBA Finals in full swing. They're on to Game 4. Pacers have the lead. The Stanley Cup is on to Game 4 as well. 2 good series, 2 competitive series. FanDuel makes it easy to bet, easy to stay in the game, whether it's before the opening faceoff, before tip-off, or betting live with player props, same-game parlays. You got performance trends to help inform your bet. You can bet on the players. You can bet on Shea with a big bounce back in Game 4, or Jalen Williams, big bounce back in Game 4. That's where my money would be. You can bet on their points and rebounds, assists. Bet on the Thunder against the spread. If you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, all quarter century team continues after we chat with Ron Johnson. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Ron, welcome in. I know where you're at, but just remind the folks at home. Where are we today? Ron on the road.
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri at the Elite One softball invite my daughter got invited out to. So we're in between games now. So we played one game this morning at 8 a.m. and now we're about to play another one at noon. Not bad though. She went 2 for 2, so can't ask anything else.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. No Patrick and Brittany sightings yet?
No, not yet. But the hotel definitely is a Chiefs hotel. There's I've never seen a hotel sell Chiefs memorabilia, but they have like flags and T-shirts and hats. So never seen that in my life. But yeah,
are they licensed to, or are they just doing that?
I don't know. I didn't we got in late last night about 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. and so. The first thing I saw was, I wanted to figure out, they have an old Chicago too, connected to the hotel, which is awesome. So an old Chicago tap room. So beer, liquor, everything right there in the lobby. So the parents are looking forward to that tonight. We're more excited about that than anything. Late night pizza and whiskey. You can't beat it. But no, yeah, when I walked in, I wanted to see what the breakfast options were, X, Y, and Z. And then literally it says cereal, fruit, tea, coffee, Chiefs gear. I was like, I've never seen a menu like that. So it's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. I'd like an old fashioned pepperoni pizza and Chiefs t-shirt, large.
Give me a Chiefs bumper sticker.
AFC champs t-shirts. So yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, Ron, I read a story in the Star Tribune today about just the leadership role that JJ McCarthy is embracing, and I'm curious for you as a player. You've got a young quarterback taking over this team.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a player, how do you want him to lead you? Like, is there a trick to being 22 and trying to lead like older veteran players? Like, what would you want to see from JJ McCarthy if you're on that team?
So I've kind of had it on both sides of it. As a coach, as a young coach, I remember Tony Dungy calling me into his office and talking to me about, like, I had Reggie Wayne, I had Marvin Harrison, I had Pierre Garçon, who was a rookie, but then also had Anthony Gonzalez, who was from Ohio State. And the one thing, Tony, I kind of asked him that, and Tony kind of told me what he did as a young coach when he had my dad, Mel Blount, Wagner, Blyer, and he just said, and Donnie Shell, he said, he kind of asked those guys what they needed. What kind of leader did they need? What did you need from him? And so I also had Kyle Bowler, who was a rookie my third year, come in, and he was our starting quarterback that they drafted in the first round with Terrell Suggs. And the one thing I saw from him, what Billick wanted was just like, look, you got older, you got Todd Heap, you got Jamal Lewis, you got Jonathan Ogden at left tackle. He had some older guys. He had Ray Lewis already, Ed Reed on the defensive side. And so the one thing they asked Kyle Bowler to do was, man, like, just listen. Like, you don't need to lead by authority. Don't lead by, like, force. You're not Peyton Manning. You can't curse the guy out when you haven't done it yet. So I'm pretty sure JJ McCarthy is kind of leading by example, but also asking those guys, what do you need from me? Like, what kind of leader do you need as a defense? Hey, how can I help you out? I know and the answer we know is, not turn the ball over, not get them back on the field fast. And then ownership and accountability. I think that's the biggest thing from a quarterback. If you make a mistake, don't blame other people. Don't come to the sideline looking at the tablet and then being mad like Aaron Rodgers does. You gotta kind of own it if it's your mistake. Like you can see tons of videos. Like the best one I ever saw was Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday getting into it. And I think Peyton Manning said something like blah, blah, blah. And Jeff Saturday kind of like told him, like, that wasn't the call. Don't change the call. And then when you think about what Peyton did, the next moment, one of the tackles came over and said, hey, get the hell out of our huddle, man. We got this. And Peyton literally came back over to Jeff Saturday and said, hey, I know you got it, man, but just like, let's talk about this before we change the call. And I think that's a leader, like being able to say, it was my mistake. I overdid this call. If the offensive line sees something, man, just tell me y'all see it. Don't get mad when I call. And I think that's what JJ McCarthy's going to do, because he's young. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to put guys in bad positions, but just own it too as a leader. Don't be one of those finger point leaders, because then you'll lose the locker room fast, and then everybody's getting ready for the Cancun.
Hey, Ron, I know the NFL's come a long way from 3-a-day practices in training camp, then 2-a-days, and it's a much lighter workload now during these practice sessions. How do you feel?
Country club.
How do you feel about like veterans, right? Like I think about like a guy like Harrison Smith. Like I'm cool if Harry doesn't show up to OTAs. Like he's done it. I get it. He knows what he's doing. Am I underselling it a little bit though, as far as just like the team camaraderie, we joke about hashtag chemistry a lot, but like even new wrinkles inside the defense, Brian Flores' defense, things like that. Where do you kind of stand on, veterans that clearly have proven their worth in whether it's their defense or offense, but their place in the team, skip it out on some of the summer activity?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be there at practice. That's the biggest thing is you don't have to practice. I mean, when you're a guy that's been in the league for that long, you don't have to practice. But you kind of want to be there. And my guess is he's been there in the offseason for some of this. Like, and Kevin O'Connell even said it. He said, hey, when Harrison Smith called him, he joked about, like, we would talk golf. We would talk whatever. And he said, like, I want you tell me when you're ready to come back. And but practice it, no. Here's the thing about the NFL and about Brian Flores' defense. Cover 2 is cover 2. Cover 4 is cover 4. Cover 3 is cover 3. Man is man. Single high. We had Theo Jackson on talking about the blitz looks and the number of different ways to blitz. That's the only thing. So if he's like, hey, Harrison, we're playing cover 2, but I need you to be the cornerback, Harrison knows that. Hey, we're playing cover 2. I want you to be the backside safety. He knows that. So there's not a lot of like things that he needs to know. Rookies, yes. Rookies, second, third, fourth year guys trying to make the team, you got to be there because, 3 yards off the hash is 3 yards off the hash. And Harrison Smith could do that in his sleep with his eyes closed. Some of these guys can't do that. And it seems simple enough, and people joke about it. But the number of receivers I see line up in the wrong spot when the coach says get to the top of the numbers, it amazes me at how they don't understand where the top of the numbers are. And it sounds simple enough. People are like, well, which one is the top? if you look at the freaking number on the field, the way they drew it, what is the top of the 4 and the 0? Like, it's the top or the bottom. Like, it's not hard. But it's just terminology throws guys off sometimes where, like you say, get to the top of the numbers, and guys are like looking at the number like, which one's the top? Like, are you stupid? So I that 3 yards inside the number, 3 yards outside the number, all those little things, I think that's the key. And so that's the one thing I noticed, like you're going to figure that out. And Harrison Smith doesn't need that. He knows exactly 3 yards off the hash. I know I see Luke Braun's, video breakdowns every week. And that's the one thing he always talks about. Was that a spy look? Was that a cover 2 that turned into a cover 3? Harrison Smith knows all that. Some of these guys don't, though. You'd be surprised at how many blown coverages are by young guys and quarterbacks that can't read, 2 safeties high, 2 safeties, low, cover 4, so yeah, younger guys for sure. But Harrison Smith, no. I mean, chemistry. Here's the thing too, Luke, Inman. We didn't have this type of technology. If I'm a captain, I could literally put a Zoom call together and we could all sit and have a drink and talk for 30 minutes.
It's
and
evolved.
Really just like it's so different now. One of the players was telling me on their iPads, if they do, I forgot what it's called, but they can all get on and see something loaded together. And so that's something we didn't have. You know what I mean? We would have had to be on like house phones looking at the same VHS tape.
Together at Old Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, hey, what did you rewind that? They don't have that now. They can all jump on an iPad. Keenan McCardell can load something up. They can all see the play, and then boom, that's the play. Let's talk about it quick. All right, you're off. Go golf or do something. It's way different now.
Yeah, and then your wife tries logging on to AOL, boots you off the landline, and all of a sudden
is that what keeps happening?
And then you blow the coverage. That spy look the next week. No, I get it though. The physical practices have shrunk down so much, but the mental capacity, the bandwidth with the technology now has increased exponentially. It feels like so.
Correct.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, Ron, Isaiah Rodgers has been pretty much penciled in as the CB2. It sounds like the way that Flores is talking about it, like he's got that job. And Matt Daniels wants him to throw the returner job as well. He's had that returner job. He's never really had the like bona fide starting corner thing. He's either been rotational or he didn't hold it in Philadelphia. Young guys came up and Quinyon Mitchell had a thing. What do you think is going to be different here? Do you think this is going to be another season where the Vikings have to hide their outside corners?
No, I just think we might want to check FanDuel just to make sure. I think if FanDuel doesn't allow him to place bets, this is a joke, people. It's a joke. So here's the thing. He's light in the butt. We already know that. Reggie Wayne told me and Sam that, that he's a little bit lighter.
Like 5'10", $170. Yeah.
Correct. So he's not a true like jam, get up under your skin, under your shoulder pass type of corner. He's a finesse guy that can read the ball. He has great ball skills. Again, being a kick returner, punt returner, and being able to play corner means he can catch the ball. He can judge the ball in the air deep. And so I think that's the biggest key. He moves well. But again, I keep bringing this up. You still got Avery Thomas and Jeff Okudah. You have a guy because of where he finished the season at, and that's what you thought when you brought him in. You still don't know. I mean, we might go into game 1 and 2 of preseason or even this Patriots week, and Avery Thomas and Jeff Okudah, who both been starters in this league, might, look better at those positions, and it could be like, hey, Isaiah Rodgers, you're going to play, but you're going to be CB3, and then we're going to move Byron Murphy into the slot, so you just don't know what it's going to look like. But no, I think it is good to kind of have it, and that's why they said it. You don't want to really go in with a true battle. You want the guy to see how he fits in with the ones, and if that's your guy, I think I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, so relatedly to that, like a lot of times when you're like sketching out what your defensive game plan is going to look like over the course of the offseason, you've got a pretty good sense of like, who you can rely on to do what, right? Like this linebacker's got range, so I can put him, in this spot a little bit more often, or hey, this cornerback's like pretty good at man coverage, so I think I'm going to call those coverages a little bit more often. But like, what happens when you're wrong? Like, not just like that there's an injury, right? And you got to change your game plan, but like that we don't have the goods in the cornerback room or something like that, like which happened to Mike Zimmer in 2020, right? Like, how does a coaching staff kind of adjust to, we don't have the horses for this?
You play cover 2 and 4. You really seriously, or I mean, honestly. So if Byron Murphy's your guy, let's just say Byron Murphy, we know he can play man. You play a little bit of 2-man to one side. and then the other side you play more of a quarter. So it'd be cover 6 is what they would say, quarter, half.
Mm-hmm.
And you allow that quarter, half man where Byron Murphy's going to kind of trail the guy, knowing underneath, if I have the linebacker help, I got it. If I don't, I got to keep trailing. And so if I do have help, then I can keep trailing. If I don't have help, I got to peel off and protect the flat. So you play a lot of quarter, half. Like cover 6 becomes your look, but you hide it. Like you motion with guys, you make them think man, you just play quarter, half. But if you don't feel like, or you play 2 and you have to play 2 with like a nickel spy. And honestly, that's why Josh Metellus is so valuable. You can make him your linebacker that chases in the Tampa 2. And I think that was the interception he got when he kind of ran down the field with the Packers game where he didn't know he had it and he kind of reached back and picked it off. That's just playing Tampa 2, but Josh Metellus is your screamer up the middle. And it's harder for a linebacker or a receiver screaming up the middle to beat Josh Metellus compared to, running with Blake Cashman. And I think you do that. You do a lot of Tampa 2, you do a lot of quarters. I mean, if you don't think you can play man, you just don't do it. And it sucks. And Flores, I think, 2 allows him to still rush and maybe have a quarterback throw into a mistake or play quarters. So you're playing off and you charge everything knowing, hey, I gotta break on this curl route. You know what I mean? And knowing I'm not going to give him time to throw the corner. We're going to run a curl with a corner over the top. I just won't give him time. And that's why, Brian Flores blitzes so much because he doesn't want to give guys, you don't have Deion Sanders out there. You know what I mean? You don't have Xavier Rhodes in his Rhodes close era. I don't even remember what year that was. 2017, 18?
Yeah. Yep.
That's, if you don't have that, you play a lot of zone. And it sounds easy enough. But even zone, we've seen the Rams, guys like Matthew Stafford pick zones apart because they know the holes.
Ron, enjoy the softball. Make some good FanDuel bets while you're out there, and we'll talk to you next week.
I got to check. Is Missouri a FanDuel state?
Yeah.
You're about to find out, aren't you?
Yeah. We'll let you know.
There's a casino here because we passed it on the way to the field. So I know there's a casino. So I'm guessing they're a FanDuel state. I would hope. But yeah, I'm when is the next game for basketball? Friday?
Is it 2 days off? Probably 2 days off, so it would be
Saturday.
Yeah, Friday or Saturday.
I was very surprised to see the Indiana Pacers won that game. We were driving, so I did not.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you guys let me. I don't really know. I'm guessing I should probably take OKC because, that's just how it usually goes with this. It's a script.
Yeah.
The NBA has a script for this. They need to be 2-2 and go to Game 7 for it to be exciting. So I'm gonna have to throw that down. Is there anything else I can bet on? What's going on right now?
You can do all the individual props, right? Like
hockey, Ron. That's your sport.
Season long.
Are there any Vikings?
Season long.
Yeah, I say, are there any?
There's
Vikings
a couple
props right
interesting
now?
basketball games everybody's watching right now.
You could you could do
You talking about
Viking,
the
like
Liberty,
JJ
Braun?
McCarthy,
Lynx?
comeback player of the year, like we talked about on Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
Lynx.
maybe I will put.
God, I
some
hate
down
the
on
Storm.
JJ. I'll put like 40 down on JJ McCarthy, rookie of the year. I got that one. I'm gonna do that.
Like it.
Yeah, awesome. Good stuff,
All right.
Ron. Thanks a lot. Good luck
Appreciate
with
it.
the softball. Yep.
Ron and I had a
quick pause.
completely different conversation.
Yeah, we did 2 conversations at once. That was really quality audio we just produced. We definitely just ruined that.
Yeah.
June 12th.
Great exit.
OTAs for all of us.
The all quarter century secondary up next. If you're in prison, you don't count.
What?
Oh.
Okay, now I
gotta make some
Now I
changes.
need a minute.
Yeah, okay,
Give me
because
a
I had a
minute.
whole thing written up. I was like, hey,
Well, let's hear
Luke
it.
Braun said that it's on field only, and if you're really about that life,
I did too.
we have a.
I put an asterisk in his name in my notes.
Oh man.
I did choose a backup in case somebody objected, which I think is fair.
I bring it up because it's a legitimate debate here. It's Harrison Smith, number 1 safety, and then there have been so many good safeties that have come along, but no one most of them didn't play more than 3 years.
There's only one hardest hitting safety in the league, which for some reason is not Harrison Smith. It's the criminal, right? It's the guy that should be put in jail or is in jail, should stay in jail for a very long time. It's Darren Sharper, right? Like he was an outstanding safety. It's difficult to argue against that fact. He's on the field, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. Probably not a Hall of Famer, especially because safeties don't get that much play, but borderline Hall of Famer, which I think is more than you can say for any of the guys that we might put here, which I would imagine include for a lot of people Anthony Harris, maybe Josh Metellus if you're feeling spicy. I am. I put Josh Metellus up here. Cameron Bynum, Andrew Sandejo if you're feeling like really.
Yeah,
you just want to plaster.
The Hall of Fame case, I think, relies a lot on his time away from the Vikings, which is not part of this exercise.
No, that's a good point. But he was good for the Vikings.
He's
also
still better than all of those.
Makes a good point here.
Yeah,
if we're
second tier by himself,
a 3-year run with the Vikings, we should also include Corey Chavis, who also had a 3-year run with the Vikings.
I thought about Corey Chavis, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought about Corey Chavis. I thought about Brian Russell. I'll be honest. I don't have a secondary flex yet. I was hoping that one of you guys would give me an idea that I like because I don't really know.
Well, okay,
I'm with you.
My
I don't even have my second safety. I'm still waiting.
Now I don't either. On Winfield, which makes my flex probably Cedric Griffin. Right?
It's tough, dude. Brian Williams had like 2-3 good years. Cedric Griffin had 5 or 6, though. Maybe 5. But
do we all have as corners? Do we all have Xavier Rhodes and Antoine Winfield?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. Could I interest you in Josh Metellus as the flex?
Yes.
I thought about it, but
yeah.
Would I rather have?
It's just hard coming from Jared Allen and Daniil Hunter and Everson Griffin and Kevin Williams conversations, Linval, Pat, to this. It's just such a big drop off.
Like 70% of the snaps at different positions.
It's just
from Jared Allen.
Have anyone thought about Madu Williams?
Yeah, Mike Doss.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mike Doss.
Who's your favorite of just sort of this eclectic mix of like 2 to 3 year safeties between
Jamarcus
Harris, Sanford, Mediu?
I like Corey Chavis.
Corey
Chavis. Yeah, Corey Chavis. How about Robert Griffin for 2 years? 2000 and 2001.
Even though he was older, like it might still be
maybe
the move. But it's just 2 years.
I think I'm going to go with, God, I hate this, but this is because we set up the rules last time. I think I'm going to go with Darren Sharper. Harrison Smith, Darren Sharper.
You're just going to do it?
You made me pick a morally questionable choice last time, and now I'm going to double down on how deep we can go that well, right? So, Darren Sharper, Harrison Smith.
You're likening... Wait. You just likened Matt Burke to Darren
No,
Sharper?
I said it was deeper. I said it's we're doubling down. This is obviously worse. There's no question.
Okay. Well, we're at it. Like we're not
in your head how much?
But once we tear down that wall, right?
Oh my gosh.
Plus, I mean, like that's like a pretty tough secondary to like try to catch one over the middle, right? That's gonna hurt. So
yeah, you're gonna get smoked.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Corey Chavis and Josh Metellus.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Harrison Smith, I assume.
Of course.
I walked into this show with Sharper on the list.
Metellus as my flex.
I think I'm stuck with that. I'm sorry, everyone. And I'll do Metellus as the flex, I guess.
I'm going to do Cedric Griffin as my flex with Rhodes and Winfield.
Boy, Slim, like, it really contextualizes.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't have any conversation at all about Trey Waynes because he had a good 2 years.
I think you guys made fun of him last show, and I think it scared everybody off.
Well, I'm not. I'm
not picking Waynes for the same reason I'm not picking Cedric Griffin, which is like you were CB2.
Yeah,
you could make a stronger case on Terrence Newman, honestly, for me.
How about Pat P? How about Pat P?
Pat P. Yeah,
if we want to do something like that.
Again, he's not on my team, right? But like, I just thought like there was a year where he was the better of the two quarterbacks between him and Rhodes, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's worth pointing out, and it's a fair consideration.
I feel like that has more to do with Rhodes than Waynes.
He was good that year. Come on, he was good that year. But no, that's fair. I get what you're saying.
Let me just
Terrence
throw
Newman
out
is
some
probably a better shout in that circumstance, regardless.
Let me just throw out some more.
I just wanted to put it out there that like of like a cornerback group that includes like Lito Shepard and Asher Allen, that like Trey Waynes is not in that category. Right?
There's so many people in this history of this secondary that would be like the 6th best guy in the free agent class that year.
Yeah.
Inman, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna just because it's fun. Just some more random name drops here. Brian Russell, I think you guys already mentioned him. Mike Doss, I threw out. Dwight Smith for a couple years. Dwight
Smith.
Someone in the
Dwight
chat
Smith.
mentioned Robert Blanton.
Robert Blanton,
Jesus.
yeah. Tank Williams, Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods.
Xavier
Xavier Woods.
Hey, he was
Xavier
bad.
Woods.
Good year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mix.
It's a
Hussein Abdullah.
hodgepodge.
Hussein Abdullah might be top like 6.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Because from that like Sanford, Williams, almost Blanton era, Hussein Abdullah was like not bad.
Who was the guy
Yeah.
from South Florida? Mistrail Raymond.
Mhm.
Mr. Raymond,
Raymond,
number 41.
Yeah.
How about,
yeah,
how
Hussein
about
Abdullah
Tyrell?
didn't come on until he was
Tyrell
a chief.
Johnson?
I feel like.
Tyrell
Hussein
Johnson.
Abdullah
Miss the best
was
of him.
clearly much better as a Chief than as a Viking. That's for sure. But like as a Viking, I would have taken him over Madhu and Sanford.
Yeah, I remember being mad that they let him go.
We
were right.
preserved 5 minutes for Luke Braun to hit us with some trivia. You got some trivia?
I do. Do you want
All right.
the?
Let's do 10 questions. Ring in with your name as your buzzer.
All right, Vikings only.
Yeah.
All right, let me find what's the Vikings. In 1998, what Vikings linebacker set an NFL record with 157 yards in fumble returns?
Sam.
Yeah.
Dwayne Rudd.
Wow, you got it.
Ooh.
You're sick. You're sick. Literally.
That's
And
Yeah, and you should go to prison.
He had a big one against the, I want to say, Bears on like Sunday Night Football late in the season. And I think he had one against the Bengals too.
for what team did Hall of Fame center Jim Langer play for 10 years before playing his final 2 seasons in Minnesota? Nobody?
I mean, might as well just throw one out here.
Throw one out there. You get 1 in 31 chance.
Yeah. I can't do it.
Yeah, Arif.
Throw one out. Pick one. Pick
Raiders. Yeah.
Not the Raiders.
Raiders.
Sam.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? That's
Browns.
Not the Browns.
Titans/Oilers. I don't know what year we're looking
No,
at.
you're on the right conference. It was the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, I was going to say the Dolphins.
Yeah, that was my next guess.
In 1976, what Vikings receiver set a team record with 210 yards in a game against Detroit?
Sam.
Yeah.
E. White.
Yep. That's 2 for Sam. There's a little music.
Finally, now I can start trying. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now that we got the warm-ups out of the way.
All right.
What 343-pound offensive guard started 134 games for the Vikings from
Sam.
1995
to
to
Luke.
2004?
Yeah,
Did you just say
I figured-
Sam's name?
I just assumed Sam was.
Is it Sam's turn?
I just
Yeah, what are
assumed
the
Sam
rules
was going
here?
to jump
When
in
you
there.
buzz
Okay,
in,
Luke,
someone
what's your
else
answer?
buzz-
David Dixon.
That is correct.
2-1.
We're out of, unless we want to go to other sports, we're out of the hardest category. So this is going to get a little easier now.
Okay. They only had 4 hard questions in the whole game.
I mean, it's all Minnesota sports. So some of these cards have like a bunch of hockey questions and
Okay.
stuff that.
Yeah. Paul Correa.
Yeah, the
That's
next
right.
like it's stuff like what unheralded job put 1998 Vikings Ring of Honor inductee Fred Zamberletti on the sidelines from every game from 1961 through 2011.
Sorry, what was the question?
Was that the actual
What job
question?
did Fred Zamberletti have?
Oh, Arif, athletic
Yeah.
trainer.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what we're doing. Oh, okay.
that's now the level of difficulty that we're working with. Oh, that's not
Okay,
the wrong- right
But that wasn't a real question.
No, it was.
Yeah, what 9-year Vikings linebacker played 4 seasons with his brother Aaron?
Sam.
Arif.
Sam was first.
E.J. Henderson.
Yeah,
Why is there a
Why is there a
question mark?
question
we just
mark
talked
after
about him
that?
like a lot.
Yeah,
That was my
we
number
spent,
2
like, time on
linebacker,
that.
man.
I started doubting myself based on the wording of the question, but I think I just misheard you. All right, we'll take it.
Oh goodness, yeah, these are like too easy to be interesting. What Vikings quarterback from 1967 to 1969 was the first player to appear in a Super Bowl, Rose Bowl, and Grey Cup?
Arif.
Yep.
Joe Cap.
Yep. See, I wish I could find harder ones.
All right,
Vikings
I guess
quarterback.
It's on you.
Ooh, here's one. What Vikings cornerback fell down trying to cover Drew Pearson on a play that decided the 1975 playoff game against Dallas?
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't got this.
Ooh.
Arif.
Yep.
Carl Lee?
Nope. He was way later.
Yeah, probably was.
Sam, Bobby Bell.
No. The Bobby Bell was a defensive tackle for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was like Bobby Bell.
You're probably thinking
Gopher?
Bobby Bryant.
Bobby
Bryant.
Bryant. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Bobby Bryant was on the other side of the field.
What is it? I got nothing. What is it?
Nate Wright.
Oh,
I did know that. Back of my mind. Way back there. I didn't.
Though best known as Vikings coach, Bud Grant played professionally for what local team immediately? Oh, wow, there's a typo. What local team immediately after leaving the University of Minnesota?
Arif.
Yeah,
The Minneapolis Lakers.
you are correct.
Nice. So, what, 2 questions left? 3-3?
I have not been counting. I hope somebody
3-3, 2 questions left. I've got it. It's mine like a steel trap up here.
3-3-1. So if I get these
Yeah.
two, we're all done.
Right.
You have one, Luke.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
This
He buzzed in with your name, so I can see why you
Yeah.
didn't.
Do you have 3?
David
Arif?
Dixon.
I may have miscounted then. You have 3?
In 2007, Vikings rookie Adrian Peterson rushed for 296 yards.
Chargers,
against
Luke.
What team? Oh, yep.
Arif.
Well,
God. Okay. I wanted to know what the question was.
Well, we just you knew where it was going though.
Well, I like maybe it was
Already
like,
said
hey,
296.
like who else had a record at that game, which I can answer. We don't.
Cromartie. Got it,
Don't-
Luke. 2 points. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, man.
In 2015, what linebacker became the first rookie in 54 years to lead the Vikings in tackles?
Luke, Eric Hendricks.
You are correct.
Tied up. Okay, this is Final Jeopardy.
He did tie it up. Like he was right to object.
This is it.
All right, this is it. What Vikings kicker retired after the 1977 season, holding nearly all the team's scoring records, including
Arif.
points and field goals?
Fred Cox.
You are correct. It's Fred Cox.
I win.
There you
We
go.
come from behind. I had like 0 points when Sam had like 2.
Yeah, hot start. Choked it away.
Classic Minnesota sports guy Sam Ekstrom.
Classic.
Yep.
If this was wild.
I was the 2005 wild card Vikings. Shouldn't have really been in there, but snuck in and
You kind of made a little noise.
What a game.
And I won, so
Fun
I'm not a
season.
Viking. More of a Lynx guy
Yeah,
right now.
right.
We'll be back on Monday. We'll conclude the quarter century team proceedings, get into some off-season topics. I'll cook up something interesting, and the analysis will continue. What off-season? Vikings talk year-round, twice a week. Audio in the Locked On Vikings feed. We appreciate you watching, listening. Maybe the voice will be better by then. Hope so.
Probably not.
See you next time.